Biden will meet this afternoon with the nation's top agriculture leaders in hopes of advancing a new farm bill. But farmers across the country say the president's policies are failing them. Our next guests represent districts home to some of the country's most vital farmland: Kansas Congressman Tracy Mann and Iowa Congressman Randy Feenstra. It's wonderful to have you both. A headline from you, Congressman Feenstra, on FoxNews.com was Biden's quiet attack on rural America smells just as bad as manure. Biden's bureaucracy will use the rule, you're talking about the water rule, to bully American farmers. But overall, as you get into this farm bill, how is rural America feeling, Congressman Feenstra, I'll start with you, about their lot in life right now?
Well, I tell you what, President Biden has absolutely turned his back against the American farmer. He has seen this in the State of the Union address, where he never mentioned the American farmer once. We also seen this in his budget proposal, that he created $5 trillion of new taxes on the backs of the American farmer. But by the way, that's a $50 trillion increase in our debt with this new budget. We also seen this in the regulatory environment with Waters of the U.S. to regulate all the farmland in America. We saw this also with his energy policy, the Green New Deal provisions, and buying oil from China and Venezuela and Saudi Arabia, instead of buying biofuels from the American farmer in the Midwest. It's just been a complete disaster from this president, and we're hurting as American farmers and rural America.
Tracy Mann, the Farm Bill is a monster. It's a huge bill. It has a lot to do with farming and a lot that has nothing to do with farming. It's going to be very controversial. How are Republicans positioning themselves to best make their case?
Well, we got to make sure that this farm bill works for rural America. I agree with my friend Feenstra. And, you know, these regulations we're seeing, it's the tip of the iceberg. And the Biden administration continues to be at war with rural America. We got to make sure the farm bill reflects true American values. You know, right now, it never ends. It's the WOTUS rules. It's the lesser prairie chicken regulations. It's this war on liquid fuels. It is the doing it with a stepped-up basis, the farm kilo tax. You know, all these things. The Biden administration, we ought to be thanking our ag producers, not punishing them. This makes no sense. We've got to get it right in this farm bill, make sure that it works for ag producers and for rural America.
Congressman Feenstra, so let's just look at some of the costs that not only affect farmers, but of course, what affects farmers affects the rest of us. Okay, so call for number 3 is the April PPI report. This is the inflation number at 2.3% year over year, right? So that adds up, certainly for you, and then it's passed on to consumers, as it has to be. Call for number 4 is farmers fighting inflation, saying that livestock and poultry expenses are forecast to rise by $4.8 billion, or 13.6%. What could be done in this farm bill that would try to bring those costs down? Do you have proposals for that the president could consider?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the big thing. Inflation, the cost of inputs. Right now, our farmers are putting crops in the ground as we speak. And the cost of fertilizer, the cost of the seed going into the ground. And this is the problem, all right? So there's significant cost, and yet that gets passed on to the consumer, and we're hoping the producer makes a little bit of profit, or if you have a drought, it's catastrophic. And this is what the Farm Bill does. It creates a safety net with insurance programs, which is so important. Creates conservation programs that we can protect our waterways, and instead of having it overregulated by Waters of the U.S., there's things that we can do voluntarily instead of having the burdensome government putting their thumb on us to mandate all these things. And that's what we're trying to do in the Farm Bill here, is help the farming community, make sure they're successful, because when they're successful, then the rest of the nation is successful.
Congressman Mann, let me finish with you. I just want to show, I know you're from Kansas and your buddy there is from Iowa, but Biden approval in Iowa, this is in a recent poll, had his disapproval at 64%. 2 years ago, it was at 44%. So disapproval within rural America is growing. How is it in Kansas?
It would be those similar numbers. And I asked myself, who's the 36% that actually think Biden's doing a good job? I don't know who those people are. But when you wage war on rural America and on ag producers, you're going to be unpopular in Kansas, in Iowa, in farm country, as you should be, and as we should be encouraging these people as they're working to feed, fuel, and clothe all of us.
Yep. Well, and this farm bill also deals with the SNAP benefits or welfare benefits and the work requirements that are going to go into that. So I promised I'd cover the farm bill. We're going to, because it does affect everyone. It's a big monster of a bill. And thank you for coming on and telling us a little bit about your point of view.
Great. Thanks, Dana.
Okay, take care.